Mega Man, the blue bomber. He can jump, he can shoot lemons. You may look at him and call him a boy, but no, he's full man. Look at that box art. Hey internet, and welcome back to Glitchfest. A lot of the glitches I'll be showing today require certain items taken into certain stages, so stay tuned, because later on I'll be showing you a way to manipulate the crud out of the password system to make that easier. But first, let's break the game just a little bit. This first glitch is simple but very useful. So when you use certain weapons, check out that energy bar at the top left here. It doesn't actually go down until you use a certain number of shots. In the case of the quick boomerang, it actually takes 8 shots. So if you take just 7 shots, then pause the game, it resets that counter. So imagine this, you've got 8 lemons. Okay, we've got 8 oranges. Every time we take a shot, we lose 1. But if we pause before the last one is gone, they all come back. If we lose that last orange, we have to spend some energy. And you can also do the same glitch with the metal blade, although with that one, you only have 4 oranges. And the bubble lead works too, but that one only has 2 oranges, which makes it pretty annoying to use. Unfortunately, none of the other weapons work because just 1 shot is enough to drain their energy bar, so no oranges for them. And yes, I know this orange thing is really dumb and annoying, so let's move on. Let's head to Woodman stage. Lots of glitches here. For the first one, if we hop down here, we've got these giant fire-breathing wolf things called frienders, which sounds like some awful social media platform. Actually, friender is just their Japanese name. In the US, they're called hot dogs, which isn't much better, but okay. So notice how they teleport in, and if we use Flashman's weapon to freeze them while they're teleporting in, we can freeze them up top here, but there's still an invisible wall stopping us from continuing. But if you use Flashman's weapon before entering the area, you can continue as expected. There's not a whole lot to this one, but it can look pretty darn funny. Who doesn't love frozen hot dogs? So we're still inside Woodman stage, but later on, we have these enemies called atomic chickens, and they just love running forever. In fact, if you go all the way to the left, there's a wall here, and that won't stop them. They'll just go right on through it. Feels like some Roadrunner shenanigans up in here. And now, let's go fight Woodman himself. He does this crud where he throws a leaf dude at you and then he just jumps. Turns out, if you pause while he's in the air, it'll make him jump again. And you can do this over and over as many times as you like to keep him jumping. You know, my favorite thing to do with this glitch is you keep making him jump until he gets stuck in the corner right here. Then you get out the metal blade and you shoot up. You just shoot up once, and then you pause the game, unpause, and keep shooting. That'll keep making him jump. So you just do this over and over until the boss fight is over. Or you could just, use Heatman's weapon and kill him super easily. But don't worry about that. This is cool, okay? And now, since we've defeated Woodman and we have his weapon, let's go do a simple glitch that uses that. So we have to kill a robot master, and who's weak to leaf shield? Bubble Man, right. Or not. Good job, Scykoh. Bubble Man is actually immune to leaf shield. Just ignore that I tried this. We're gonna actually go to Airman. So if we defeat a robot master and have the leaf shield still out after defeating them, it kind of messes with the sound. Let's take a listen. Yep, pretty simple. Gosh dang it. But yeah, it's a pretty simple sound oddity. I don't even know if you'd call it a glitch. It's more so just due to the hardware limitations of the NES. But there you go, sounds cool. Okay, it's almost time to get into the really fun glitches, but first, let's go and wreck that password system. So we have this grid right here, and we have 9 balls to place into different slots. Now the first row A right here, purely controls. It only controls how many E-tanks you have when you start the game. Using an E-tank will fully restore your life, and putting one of our dots at the top right basically says, hey, give me 4 E-tanks. Now from this point on, there's still the 8 robot masters, and each one has a spot on the grid that signals, hey, we've killed this guy, or a spot that says, hey, this guy is still alive. For example, if we place a ball on B2, that means Airman is dead, where E1 would mean Airman is alive. There's also D5 or D2 for Bubble Man, D4 or B1 for Crashman, C5 or B3 for Flashman, C1 or E4 for Heatman, B4 or E5 for Metalman, C3 or D3 for Quickman, and finally, gosh dang, it sounds like some bingo up in here, but finally, E2 or C4 for Woodman. But here's an example. With this combination, it gives me 4 E-tanks and has all of the robot masters defeated, except for Airman. because I cannot defeat Airman. Right, so enough passwords, let's go back to glitching. And this one can be done in pretty much any stage. All that is required is item 1, which you get from beating Heatman, and a ceiling corner. So what you do is you drop item 1 and jump onto it and let it lift you into the corner. If you're too far under the ceiling, then it's gonna actually make the item 1 vanish. And if you're too far away from the ceiling, then you'll kind of just pop up to the side like that. But if you hit that Goldilocks zone just right, it'll push you up into the ceiling and you'll get stuck like that. Now, in a small ceiling like the boss store here, it doesn't exactly do much. But if you do it in a big extended ceiling, it can lead to you doing the zippity-doo-dah and rushing all the way across the ceiling. Nice! You know, before this glitch, I wasn't really into ceilings, but I guess now you could call me a ceiling fan. Now, there actually is one zippity-doo-dah I do want to show you guys that does not require item 1. It's pretty simple to do. We go into Bubble Man stage, and right here we drop down and go to the right. But there's this weird thing that happens in Mega Man 2. Whenever you pause the game and unpause, it actually makes you move a little bit more to the right than you normally would. So what we're going to do is drop down, go to the right, and pause and unpause the game over and over and over. And eventually that'll move us over just enough that we can get stuck in the ceiling when we drop down to the next area. And from there, you can do your zippity-doo-dah, go across, try not to get killed by Metroids, you know. And oh boy, what the heck are those fish doing? Yeah, things can get a little crazy here in Mega Man Town. I don't think that's a real town. Oh, and sometimes the zippity-doo-dah could do some weird things. Like here, where it breaks the game and makes the background image not change, even though it's still as if I'm progressing through the stage. Kinda hard to tell just by watching the video, but I really am playing through Woodman stage right now. I just have to kind of do it blind. All of the collision data, all the stuff you can jump on is still there, but the background image just isn't moving. Now next is probably the biggest glitch in the game. This should hypothetically work on any stage, but even with many hours of trying, I was only able to make it work on 4 of them, so let's go check out at least what I was able to do. The first was on Heatman stage. So during the boss fight, what you want to do is try to lag the game a little bit. Just make it lag. In this case, I shoot out 2 bubbles with the bubble lead weapon, and then you touch the door. And sometimes, I don't know exactly what makes this happen, but sometimes it works. It'll initiate a screen transition, and it takes you to here. Okay then. Well, I can still take damage here, or even damage Heatman, but if I die, Heatman's health bar goes away. Technically, when you do this glitch, it'll transport you to the next area in the game's memory, which, in Heatman stage, is Wily Stage 1, which is where we sorta are now. But Heatman's graphics and music are still loaded, which is what leads to this odd-looking mess. And one small problem, beating Wily Stage 1, as far as I can tell, requires item 1, which we get for beating Heatman, and since we haven't actually defeated him, we don't have item 1, so this is as far as I could get. I tried for hours to make my way up there using item 2 or item 3, but I wasn't able to. Maybe it's possible, but I couldn't do it. Cool, next let's do the same glitch, but this time during the Airman boss fight. This time we use item 1 and get up and touch the door. And just a reminder, this doesn't always work, but with enough tries it eventually does, and it'll whoosh us off to Wily Stage 2. And Wily Stage 2 has instant death spikes, which are really hard to see now. Normally you would get item 2 from beating Airman, and you would use that to travel across this huge pit of death spikes, but in this case, we don't have that crud, but thankfully there is still a way. So what you do is you actually take some damage from one of these guys here, and that'll give you brief invincibility so you can walk through the spikes. Then you drop in item 1, jump on top of that, wait for the enemy to come over so he can hit you again, and kind of rinse repeat, and eventually you'll get all the way through the spike pit. It's not exactly easy, but it's definitely possible. We get to the end, climb up the ladder, and bam, we can move on.
My face! Also my leg, but mostly my face!
And I love once you get through here, I love how you can see the chain from these guys actually pop up on the bottom of the screen. And unlike Wily Stage 1, this time I was able to play the stage all the way through until the end. I got through all the different screens and ultimately got to the boss room. But sadly, because the game still considers us inside the Airman stage, the boss fight never pops up and we're stuck. I even tried using item 1 to escape to the top, but that didn't work either. So from here, we have to reset the game. There's no other way out. So that's Wily Stage 2. Let's go and do this glitch in Bubble Man stage. Oh, and bonus fact. If you hold down A while selecting the stage, instead of stars flying by, it'll be these enemies, called peepees. Ah, flying peepees as far as the eye can see. Anyways, we get to the boss fight, drop the item 1s, touch the door, and whoosh. And this time it takes us to Wily Stage 4. We're in a pretty small area here and can't really do much because the ladder doesn't work, so I try killing whatever that is, and it just beats the stage as usual. I also tried letting it kill me, and that puts us back in here where again the ladder doesn't work. That's kind of a problem. I used item 3 to try and escape, and that didn't work either, so I think we're stuck. Oh well, so that's 3 stages down, but I told you guys that I got this glitch to work in 4 areas. So let's go and do my favorite one of all. So let's go back to good old Woodman stage, enter the boss fight, drop our item wands, and touch the door. Bam! Whooshes us off to Wily Stage 3. And once we get to Wily Stage 3, it just starts dropping us. We just drop and drop and drop until eventually we get to the floor here. And I tried to move right after this point, which I was able to a little bit. But then there's this weird barrier here, which is just not having any of it. It does not want me to go past at all. I tried jumping at it. I tried using item 2 to go at it. No luck. This barrier is not having it. I even found that there's a ladder right here, so I climbed down, tried jumping to the right here. Still no luck. But if I drop all the way down, it actually does kill me. So I kill myself, I come back, and I go here again, and it turns out the barrier is gone, so we can finally move on. Hi, fishy! And here normally there's some death spikes, but now we have no such problem, which makes it a lot easier. We can drop down pretty safely. Oh, and then shortly after that, I realized everything is a ladder for some reason. I don't know why. Normally you drop down here, I'm climbing back up the drop. I go all the way to the top, and sadly it didn't do anything cool. But I did find jumping in this spot right here leads to some unintentional zippity doodahs. Mega Man, you okay, dude? Okay, so no clue what happened there, but something probably broke. Trying to climb off the top here does nothing, but going back down, kills me. Now this time I climbed down, and the screens are freaking out just a little bit. And I finally found some enemies! Killing them was a breeze, and it looks like it's boss time. Or not. Sadly, just like back in Wily Stage 2, the boss doesn't appear, and now the door no longer works, so we're stuck again. So I did the glitch again, I tried a second time, and it turns out, for some reason, after going past these enemies and then backtracking to where we were, makes everything very colorful. I just kept climbing and zipping, and I don't even know what's happened to this point, Mega Man. Mega Man, this is not Kid Icarus. You shouldn't be walking from side to side like that. That's pretty much all I could get out of Wily Stage 3, and as I mentioned before, this glitch should hypothetically work with the other Robot Masters as well, but I was only able to get it to work on these 4, so I guess that's gonna wrap things up for this one. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Holy crud, everyone. Considering last year my only video was a remake of an old video, I basically haven't put out a proper new Glitchfest in like 2 years. So dang, thanks for being here. And hey, if you're new, definitely feel free to subscribe. And for those who don't know, I do have 2 other channels. One is Scykoh Plays, which is a Let's Play channel, and I have one called Scykoh Crud, which is just some random crud. I guess that's it for this one. See you guys next year, or hopefully sooner, maybe. Take care, everyone.